There comes a moment in life when you can feel it deep in your spirit. Something has changed. The weight you carried for so long no longer feels as heavy. The doors that stayed closed begin to crack open. The confusion starts turning into clarity. And suddenly, the things you prayed for, cried for, and waited for don't feel far away anymore. They feel close, real, alive. That's because everything has shifted in your favor. What once delayed you is now preparing to release you into overflow. The struggle was never meant to break you. It was building the strength you would need for this next chapter. Every disappointment, every sleepless night, every setback was moving pieces behind the scenes that you couldn't yet see. And now the season is changing. This is not the time to doubt yourself. This is the time to expect miracles, opportunities, peace, abundance, healing, and joy to flow into your life without fear. Overflow is active, not just financially, but emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and personally. You are stepping into a version of yourself that no longer begs for permission to shine. You survive too much to keep living small. The energy around your life is changing, and the universe is responding to the confidence, faith, and resilience you refuse to let die. So walk like the breakthrough has already arrived. Speak like blessings are already chasing you. Believe that what belongs to you is finally finding its way to you, because from this moment forward, everything is aligning in your favor. You ever wake up one morning and feel like something is different even if nothing around you has changed yet? The same room, the same routine, the same problems sitting there waiting for your attention. But somehow your spirit feels lighter, stronger, calmer. It's like a quiet voice inside you keeps saying, hold on, something is finally moving. That feeling is not random. That feeling is the shift beginning. And most people miss it because they expect transformation to arrive loudly. They expect fireworks, instant success, overnight miracles. But real shifts, real life-changing moments, they usually begin in silence. The truth is, the biggest changes in your life often happen before you can physically see them. A shift starts in your mindset before it reaches your reality. It starts in your energy before it reaches your bank account. It starts in your spirit before it shows up in your circumstances. And maybe that's where you are right now. You're standing in the middle of a season that still looks confusing on the outside, but deep down you know you're not the same person anymore. You don't react the same. You don't cry over the same things. You don't chase the same approval. Something inside you has matured through the pain. There were nights nobody knew about, moments where you questioned yourself, times you smiled in front of people while silently fighting battles in your mind. You carried disappointment, betrayal, stress, fear, and uncertainty, and yet somehow you kept going. That alone is proof that the shift has already started, because the old version of you would have given up by now. The old version of you would have stayed stuck in fear. But now, even after everything you've been through, there's still something inside you that believes better days are coming. That's powerful. Sometimes life has to isolate you before it elevates you. Sometimes things fall apart because they were no longer connected to the future you're meant to walk into. And I know that hurts. Losing people hurts. Watching plans fail hurts. Feeling delayed hurts. But what if those endings were not punishment? What if they were protection? What if life was removing distractions, unhealthy attachments, and wrong environments because you were getting ready for something greater? Think about how much you've changed already. The things that once broke you now barely shake you. The things you begged for, you now realize you outgrew. The version of you that once needed validation is slowly learning to validate yourself. That is growth. That is healing. That is the beginning of the shift. And here's the beautiful part about a real shift. Once it starts, nothing can stop it. People may doubt you. Circumstances may still look messy. You may not have all the answers yet, but when your mindset changes, your entire direction changes. You start walking differently. You start speaking differently. You stop shrinking yourself to make other people comfortable. You stop settling for less than what your spirit knows you deserve. You begin to understand that delays are not denials, that closed doors are not failures, that every setback carried a lesson, every tear carried wisdom, and every painful season carried preparation. You realize you weren't buried, you were planted, and planted things grow. That's why you can't quit now, not when the shift is already happening, not when your breakthrough is closer than it has ever been. So many people give up right before life changes. They walk away because they can't see progress yet. But progress is not always visible in the beginning. Sometimes the roots grow underground before anything blooms above the surface, and just because nobody else can see your growth yet doesn't mean it isn't happening. You are becoming stronger, wiser, more focused, and more aware of your worth. The pain didn't destroy you, it revealed you. It showed you how resilient you truly are. And one day, you're going to look back at this season and realize it was the turning point, the moment life quietly started moving in your favor. So protect your peace now, protect your energy. Stop speaking defeat over your future. Stop telling yourself that nothing good ever happens for you. The shift responds to belief. The more you trust the process, the more aligned you become with the opportunities, people, and blessings that are meant for your life. Your story is not ending in struggle. Your story is not ending in lack, confusion, or pain. This is the chapter where things begin to change. This is the chapter where your confidence returns, where your hope returns, where your faith becomes stronger than your fear. The shift has already begun. Even if you can't fully see it yet, feel it, trust it, walk with it, because your life is preparing to meet the version of you that refused to give up. There's a moment when you stop asking, when will things get better? And you start realizing they already are. Not because every problem has disappeared overnight, but because something inside you has changed. You no longer wake up feeling defeated. You no longer let fear control every decision. You no longer believe that struggle is the only thing life has planned for you. That's the moment overflow stops being delayed. That's the moment your spirit finally understands that what's meant for you cannot keep missing you forever. For a long time, it probably felt like life kept putting you on hold. You watched other people move ahead while you stayed stuck in the same cycle. You prayed, worked hard, stayed patient, and still felt overlooked. And honestly, there were moments where you questioned everything. You questioned your purpose, your timing, even your worth. You wondered if maybe blessings were for everyone else, but somehow skipped over your name. But what you couldn't see was that life was preparing you behind the scenes. Because overflow without preparation can become destruction. Some doors had to stay closed until you became strong enough to walk through them. And look at you now. You survived things that once felt impossible. You made it through heartbreak, disappointment, silent battles, financial stress, emotional exhaustion, and moments where nobody truly understood what you were carrying. But instead of becoming bitter, you became wiser. Instead of letting pain harden your heart completely, you learned how to keep moving even while healing. That growth matters more than you realize. The delay was never there to deny you, it was there to develop you. People often think overflow only means money, success, or material things, but real overflow is deeper than that. It's peace overflowing into your mind after years of anxiety. It's confidence overflowing into the places where insecurity once lived. It's joy showing up in your life without needing a reason. It's finally being able to breathe again after surviving seasons that almost broke you. Overflow is when life stops feeling like constant survival and starts feeling like possibility. And the truth is, many people never reach that place because they stay attached to the mindset of lack. They keep speaking defeat over themselves. They keep expecting disappointment because disappointment became familiar. But you cannot step into overflow while constantly convincing yourself that nothing good is coming. Your words matter. Your energy matters. Your belief matters. You have to start speaking like the blessings are already moving towards you, even before you see proof. That doesn't mean pretending life is perfect. It means choosing faith over fear. It means understanding that delays do not erase destiny. Just because something hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it never will. Some things take time because they are bigger than what you imagined. Some blessings arrive slowly because they are meant to last. Think about how many times life protected you without you realizing it. There were opportunities you cried over losing that later turned out to be wrong for you. There were people you begged to stay who would have eventually drained your peace. There were moments that felt unfair at the time, but later made complete sense. That's why you have to trust the process even when you don't fully understand it. Overflow begins the moment you stop chasing what drains you and start aligning with what feeds your spirit. It begins when you stop settling for crumbs because you finally understand you deserve fullness. It begins when you stop shrinking yourself to fit into places you've already outgrown. And maybe that's the shift happening in your life right now. Maybe you're finally realizing that you were never meant to stay trapped in survival mode forever. You were made for more than constant stress, more than barely getting by emotionally, more than carrying pain in silence while pretending to be okay. There is more waiting for you, more peace, more clarity, more abundance, more healing, more purpose. And when overflow finally enters your life, it often arrives all at once. The opportunities come quickly, the right people appear unexpectedly, doors begin opening that once felt impossible to unlock. Things start aligning in ways you never could have planned yourself. Suddenly, the same life that once felt heavy begins to feel hopeful again. But don't miss this part. Overflow also requires responsibility. When life starts blessing you, don't return to the habits that kept you stuck before. Don't let fear talk you out of opportunities. Don't downplay your worth because of old insecurities. Don't sabotage what you prayed for simply because you're not used to receiving good things consistently. You have to learn how to receive joy without guilt, receive abundance without fear, receive love without constantly waiting for it to disappear, because the season of delay is ending. You've cried enough, you've struggled enough, you've carried enough. Now it's time to experience what happens when life finally starts flowing in your favor, not in small drops, but in overflow. And the beautiful thing is, you don't have to force it anymore. What belongs to you is already finding its way to you. Overflow is no longer delayed, it's already on the move. Have you ever looked at your life and thought, I can't keep carrying this forever? Not because you're weak, but because some seasons are so heavy that they test every part of who you are. There are struggles that drain you quietly, the kind nobody notices because you still show up, still smile, still try to hold everything together. But deep inside, you're exhausted, tired of fighting battles you never asked for, tired of waiting for things to finally change, tired of feeling like life keeps asking more from you while giving so little back. But hear this clearly, your season of struggle is ending, not someday far away. The ending has already started the moment you decided not to give up. People don't talk enough about how hard it is to stay hopeful when life keeps disappointing you. It's easy to believe in miracles when everything is working out. But believing while things are falling apart, that takes strength, real strength. And maybe nobody applauded you for surviving these past months or years, but survival itself is proof of the power inside you. You made it through days that should have broken you completely. Even when your heart was heavy, you kept moving. Even when your mind was overwhelmed, you still found a way to continue. That matters more than you realize. Sometimes we think struggle means failure. We think if life is hard, it must mean we're doing something wrong. But some of the strongest people are built in difficult seasons. Pain changes you. It teaches you things comfort never could. It teaches patience, resilience, wisdom, and awareness. It reveals who truly stands beside you and who only appears when life is easy. And while the struggle may have hurt you, it also shaped you into someone stronger than the person you used to be. Still, there comes a point where struggle has done its job. There comes a moment when life stops testing you and starts rewarding you. And I believe many people are entering that moment right now. You can feel it. The heaviness is lifting little by little. The constant confusion is beginning to clear. Things that once felt impossible are starting to feel possible again. That's not your imagination. That's the shift happening. Your season of struggle is ending because you're no longer the same person who entered it. The old version of you doubted yourself constantly. The old version of you tolerated things that damaged your peace. The old version of you chased validation from people who could never truly see your worth. But pain forced you to grow. It forced you to stop abandoning yourself just to keep others comfortable. It forced you to recognize that protecting your peace is not selfish, it's necessary. And maybe the biggest lesson struggle teaches is this. You cannot build a new life while thinking like the broken version of yourself. Healing requires a new mindset. You have to stop speaking defeat over your future. Stop assuming that because life has been hard, it will always stay hard. Some people become so attached to survival mode that they don't know how to receive peace when it finally arrives. But peace is coming, stability is coming, joy is coming, and you deserve to experience those things without guilt. There are blessings that can only enter your life after certain struggles leave. Think about that. Some opportunities require a stronger version of you. Some prayers could only be answered after you developed the wisdom to handle them. If everything had arrived earlier, maybe you wouldn't have been ready. Maybe you would have settled for less. Maybe you would have wasted the very things you now understand the value of. Nothing you survived was meaningless. Every sleepless night built endurance. Every disappointment built discernment. Every delay built patience. Even the moments that made you cry alone carried lessons that will protect you in the future. One day you'll realize that the struggle was not there to destroy your destiny, it was there to prepare you for it. And now it's time to release the belief that suffering has to be permanent. Too many people expect pain to stay because pain became familiar. But your future is not supposed to look like your hardest season forever. There are beautiful moments ahead of you that will make sense of everything you endured. There are people who will love you correctly. There are opportunities that will restore your confidence. There are breakthroughs that will remind you why you had to keep going. You are closer than you think. That's why you cannot quit now. Not when the storm is finally beginning to pass. Not when life is preparing to return everything your struggle tried to steal from you. Your peace is returning. Your confidence is returning. Your energy is returning. Your hope is returning. And one day soon, you'll wake up and realize you're no longer surviving day by day. You're living again, smiling again, dreaming again, breathing without carrying the same weight on your chest. Your season of struggle is ending, and the version of you that rises from this season will be stronger, wiser, calmer, and more powerful than anything your pain tried to create. The hard chapter is closing, and your next chapter will remind you why you never gave up. You know what's strange about life? Sometimes everything can look completely normal on the outside while something powerful is happening behind the scenes. You may still be waking up to the same responsibilities, dealing with the same people, walking through the same routine. Yet deep down, you can feel a shift you can't fully explain. It's subtle, but real. Things are starting to align in your favor. The delays that once frustrated you are beginning to make sense. The closed doors no longer hurt the same way. The confusion is slowly turning into clarity. And for the first time in a long time, you're starting to believe that maybe life is not against you after all. That feeling matters. Because when alignment begins, it doesn't always arrive with loud announcements. Sometimes it begins quietly through small changes in your thinking, your energy, and your perspective. You stop forcing connections that drain you. You stop begging for opportunities that clearly were never meant for you. You stop chasing validation from people who only appreciate you when it's convenient for them. Instead, you begin protecting your peace. You begin trusting your instincts more. You begin realizing that not every loss was a punishment. Some losses were redirection. And honestly, some of the things that didn't work out were blessings in disguise. Think about it. There were moments you felt rejected, delayed, or forgotten. You wondered why life kept saying no when you were trying so hard. But looking back now, you can probably see how certain situations would have damaged you if they had actually worked out the way you wanted. Some people had to leave because they were blocking your growth. Some plans had to fail because they were too small for the future waiting for you. Alignment is not always comfortable in the beginning. Sometimes it requires life to remove things before it can add better things, and that process can feel painful because humans naturally hold on to what feels familiar, even when it's unhealthy. But growth will always demand change. You cannot enter a new season while carrying the mindset, habits, and attachments that belong to your old season. That's why so many people feel uncomfortable right before life changes for the better. Their spirit is growing faster than their surroundings. They begin craving deeper peace, healthier connections, meaningful purpose, and emotional freedom. Things that once entertained them no longer satisfy them. Conversations feel different, priorities change, their tolerance for negativity becomes smaller. That's not you becoming cold, that's you becoming aligned. And when you're aligned, life begins responding differently to you. The opportunities start appearing at the right time. The right people begin entering your life naturally instead of forcefully. You stop feeling like you have to fight for every little thing, because what belongs to you begins flowing toward you with less resistance. That doesn't mean challenges disappear completely, but it means you stop living in constant struggle mode. There's a new sense of trust developing inside you, a calm confidence that says, what's meant for me will find me. That kind of peace is powerful. For too long, you may have believed you had to earn your worth by overworking, overgiving, or constantly proving yourself. But alignment teaches you that your value does not decrease because someone else failed to recognize it. You don't have to shrink yourself to fit into places that no longer match your growth. You don't have to settle for relationships that leave you emotionally exhausted. You don't have to keep doubting your future because of temporary setbacks. Life is teaching you to trust timing instead of fear. And maybe that's one of the hardest lessons of all. Because when things don't happen quickly, people often assume nothing is happening at all. But alignment works quietly before it becomes visible. The seeds grow underground before anyone sees the tree. The breakthrough often begins internally long before it appears externally. You are becoming someone stronger, wiser, and more prepared than you were before. The pain sharpened your awareness. The disappointments taught you discernment. The waiting taught you patience. None of it was wasted. Even the moments that felt unfair were shaping you into the person capable of handling the blessings coming next. So stop speaking over your life as if struggle is your permanent identity. Stop expecting disaster every time something good starts happening. Not every chapter is meant to hurt you. Some chapters are meant to heal you. Some chapters are meant to restore your confidence and remind you that happiness is still possible. Alignment is working in your favor even now in ways you cannot fully see yet. The things you prayed for are getting closer. The peace you wanted is becoming available to you. The opportunities you thought you missed may return in better forms than you imagined. And the version of you that once felt lost is slowly finding direction again. Trust that, because life has a way of rewarding people who refuse to give up on themselves. And after everything you've survived, you deserve to experience what happens when things finally begin falling into place instead of falling apart. Have you ever stood in front of a closed door for so long that you started believing it would never open? You knock, you pray, you wait, you try again, and after a while the silence starts getting to you. You begin wondering if maybe the opportunity wasn't meant for you. Maybe the dream was too big. Maybe life forgot about you completely. But what most people don't realize is this. Sometimes the door stays closed because you are still becoming the person who can walk through it. And when the timing is finally right, nothing on earth can stop that door from opening. The doors are finally opening now, not because you suddenly became lucky overnight, but because everything you survived prepared you for this moment. The pain strengthened you. The delays matured you. The disappointments forced you to grow in ways comfort never could. You learned how to survive uncertainty. You learned how to keep believing when results were nowhere in sight. And that kind of resilience changes a person forever. There were moments when you probably felt invisible, like no matter how hard you worked or how much effort you gave, nothing moved. Other people seemed to receive opportunities so easily while you kept hitting obstacle after obstacle. That kind of season can make a person question themselves deeply. It can make you wonder if you're falling behind in life. But the truth is, delay does not mean denial. Sometimes your journey takes longer because your purpose is bigger than you currently understand. Think about how many times life protected you without you even knowing it. Some doors stayed closed because what was behind them would have drained you, distracted you, or destroyed your peace. At the time you called it rejection, but later you realized it was protection. And now, because you've grown, healed, and become more aware of your worth, the opportunities entering your life will look different. They won't require you to betray yourself. They won't force you to settle for less than you deserve. They will align with the person you're becoming. That's what happens when doors open at the right time. The beautiful thing about growth is that it changes what you're willing to accept. The old version of you may have chased people who gave you mixed signals. The old version of you may have stayed in environments that constantly drained your energy. The old version of you may have doubted your own value every time someone failed to recognize it. But now you're learning to walk away from anything that costs your peace. You're learning that self-respect matters more than approval. And because of that, your life is beginning to shift. You can feel it. The opportunities are becoming clearer. The confusion is fading little by little. The right conversations are happening. The right connections are appearing. Even your mindset is different now. You no longer think only about survival. You're starting to think about growth, purpose, peace, stability, and abundance. That shift in thinking changes everything. Because the moment you stop expecting disappointment, you create space for possibility. So many people stay trapped because they secretly believe nothing good will happen for them. They've been hurt so many times that fear becomes their normal mindset. They expect rejection before they even try. They expect failure before they begin. But you cannot fully receive new blessings while carrying the belief that you are destined to lose. At some point, you have to believe that life can work in your favor too. And I know that's difficult after hard seasons. I know disappointment can make trust feel dangerous. But every closed chapter in your life was not meant to make you hopeless. It was meant to make you wiser, stronger, more prepared. The doors opening now are different because you are different. You've developed discernment. You've learned patience. You've learned how to protect your energy. You no longer chase everything that shines because you finally understand that not every opportunity is aligned with your purpose. That wisdom is priceless. And here's what's powerful about this season. You no longer have to force what belongs to you. Real alignment flows naturally. The right people won't constantly confuse you. The right opportunities won't require you to abandon your values. The right season will bring peace with the growth, not chaos with the blessing. That doesn't mean there won't still be challenges. Life will always have moments that test you, but now you know how strong you are. Now you know you can survive difficult chapters without losing yourself completely. That confidence changes how you walk through life. So stop standing in front of old, closed doors, begging for access to places you've already outgrown. Stop mourning opportunities that were never truly meant for your future. Bigger doors are opening now. Better opportunities are coming. Healthier relationships are finding you. The life you prayed for is slowly moving toward you, piece by piece. And one day soon, you're going to look around and realize that everything you thought was falling apart was actually falling into place. The waiting season will make sense. The struggle will make sense. The delays will make sense. Because the doors are finally opening. And this time they're opening for the version of you that never gave up, even when life gave you every reason to.